I ghosted my family and fiancé after what my sister did. I was 21 when my fiancé asked me to marry him. We grew up together. When we finally started dating, our families were so happy you would think it was a holiday that lasted for weeks. Everyone said we were perfect. We were only engaged for 6 months before everything fell apart. I have 2 sisters. The one this story is about is my middle sister. Let's call her Nikki. Nikki was a cold person. She never showed affection, never softened, never really cared how people felt. The only person she ever opened up to was my fiancé. She said she saw him like a brother. He helped her through dark times. Drug addiction, trouble with the law, things she never talked about with me. We never got along. I loved her because she was my sister, but I didn't like her as a person. One night, out of nowhere, she asked if I wanted to go clubbing with her. We had never gone out together before. She said she felt bad about being distant and wanted to bond. I agreed. Clubbing wasn't really my thing, but after a few drinks, I loosened up. I started having fun. Everything was fine until Nikki spotted a guy across the room. She laughed and said she wanted to climb him like a tree. She walked over to him, and a few minutes later came back looking angry. I asked what happened. She wouldn't answer. I kept pushing because I didn't want the night ruined. Finally, she snapped and said the guy didn't want her number. He wanted mine instead. I told her he was a loser and that plenty of men would be lucky to have her. She didn't care. She said she needed the restroom and that we'd leave right after. I waited, and waited. Over an hour passed. I kept drinking while I waited. Different cocktails, too many. I started feeling dizzy, lightheaded. I assumed Nikki had already left, so I decided to grab a cab and go home. That's when I ran into one of Nikki's friends, a guy she had briefly dated before. He asked if I needed help getting to my car. I told him I was calling a cab. He said he was leaving and we could share one. I agreed. We stepped into the first cab we saw. I tried to find my phone in my purse, but the room started spinning. My head felt heavy. That's the last thing I remember. I blacked out. My sister lied and everyone believed her. I woke up the next morning on a hard sofa, my head pounding. When I opened my eyes, I realized I was in that guy's house. My phone was on the glass table in front of me, completely dead. When he noticed I was awake, he handed me water and some tablets. He said I passed out in the cab. He didn't know my parents' address, so he brought me there and laid me on the sofa. I panicked. My fiancé would be worried sick. He called me a cab, and I went straight to my parents' house. When I walked in, everyone was there. My parents, Nikki, my fiancé, his parents.